Hi there, my name's Sheila, and today I'm going to show you how to make a 4-tier strawberry planter box. I'm doing this on behalf of Prince Albert Métis Women, and it's a great organization, and I'm just going to show you a pretty basic, easy way to do it. These boards in front of me were at one time some old 2x6s I had, and they were pretty roughed up. So I ran them through my planer. See that little pile of wood over there, shavings? And then I sanded them all really smooth. So now they're approximately about an inch thick and maybe 5 inches, because I had to take some off the sides. So, but they ended up to be beautiful pieces of wood. I have a few orders for these from some great ladies, and what I'll be doing is going to buy some more wood today, and what I'll be getting are 1x6s, like this one here. And technically, I don't know if everybody knows how measurements go with wood. It's called a 1x6, but it's technically a 1/2 inch by 5.5 inches. Same with a 2x4, it's 1.5 by 3.5. I don't know why they do that, but it's just a thing they do. So I'm going to get started, and as I go, I'll explain to you how I'm doing it. So first off, you need to figure out your scales and your dimensions. If you're making this for somebody, you would ask them what, do they want it 2 feet long, 1 foot long? Just, you want to do what your customer wants you to do. So I'm going to do kind of like an A-frame here, and I'll figure out my measurements from there. Kind of like that. And, anybody that works with wood usually doesn't bring paper into the garage for some reason, and we do it on this scrap piece of wood. So, my customers wanted the first box starting at about a foot high off the ground. So there's a foot, and that's where the bottom of the first box will go. And then in between the two boxes, you want about 2.5 inches. And then this would be the bottom of the second one, which would be, oh wait. So you got the box, the frame, like that. You got the bottom box at 1 foot off the ground. And then they're approximately 5.25 inches high. So that'd be there, 5.25. And then you want them 2.5 inches distance. And that would be the bottom of the second box, which would again be 5.25 inches, approximately. And for strawberries, you need approximately 4 to 6 inches depth of soil for them to grow. So when you're at 5.25 in that middle of the row, it's usually pretty good. And then you do another 2.5 inches. And you just go up like that. Then you add up your numbers and you come out with the minimum length of your A-frame there. So it's pretty messy, pretty hard to understand, but each box is approximately 5.25 inches. So that would make 21 inches long. Add 1 foot, so that'd be another 12 inches, which would be 33. And then you need 1, 2, 3, 2.5 inches apart, so that would be 6, 7.5 inches. So you're at 40.5 inches, which then it's just over 3 feet. 3 feet, 4.5 inches long, I'm pretty sure. The top part here, that side and this side, you would cut at approximately 30 degrees. Then it'll match up nicely with this one. And 30 degrees going the same way. So that would sit on the ground flat, and this would go flat with the top there. And then as you're doing it, you would just figure out your boards, the length of your boards, like that, to sit your planter boxes on. So what I'm going to do is start making the boxes first. So I got the sides all cut to my they want them 2 feet long, approximately 2 feet long. So I got the sides cut out to 2 feet long. I just need to cut out my ends and my bottom, and I'll show you how to put them together. So as you can see, I got some end cuts there and my side cuts there. I haven't done my bottom because I want to put them together and I can measure out my bottom. These aren't going to be huge boxes. My end cuts are only about 5 inches wide, and then the sides will go on the sides here, so that you can make them bigger if you want. But I wouldn't go too big because you don't want them overlapping too much. So the next part is just putting the sides and the ends together, and then we can measure out our bottoms. So when I start doing this, like I said, this is just going to be a basic box. You could do like 45-degree angles to make it a little bit nicer than that, but that takes a little bit more work. But to put on the first one, I will clamp it so I can pre-drill my holes, and it will hold in one spot. Hold in the way I want it to hold, I guess you could say. Just a second, I need both my hands for this. So yeah, I clamp the ends like that, and then I can pre-drill my holes and screw it in, and I do the same on this side. Clamp it, pre-drill my holes, put in the screws, and then it's easy to put on the other side. So I'll pre-drill my holes and get screws in, and I will show you what I mean. So after I put the two ends on like that, and they went inside, so you don't lose width of the boxes. Like I said, these aren't going to be huge boxes, but and I used 2 screws on each side, and I used 1.5-inch wooden screws for this project. And then I'm going to take the top part, the other side, and just place it on top and even it out with with the ends, and make sure it's all nice and neat. And I'll pre-drill some holes and stick some screws in there. So as you can see, I put the end boards inside instead of these boards inside. And that's because I want to maximize my width and my depth. But But the board I cut for the bottom, the 2-foot board, doesn't totally fit. I'm about 1 3/4 inches off. So I have two options here. I could change the ends and put these, change the ends here and put these on the inside where this board will fit. Or I can cut this board down to fit right inside, like that. But then that's taken away from my depth. So, since I have extra pieces of wood over there, I'm gonna take one of those 2-foot long pieces of wood and I'm gonna cut 1 3/4 strips off them. And then I will glue these two together, this one and the other little piece together, and clamp them so they glue nice and tight. And then I'll put them on, and even if the glue eventually comes loose, they will both be secure on the outside of this board. Here. I will have glue on this side, and I'll glue the boards down too. That's what I usually do. So that's maximizing my width and depth since I'm working with such small dimensions here. Like I said, there's many options. I can change the end pieces around, or I can cut this to fit in the middle, but then you're losing width and you're losing depth. So what I'm going to do is my third option is cut another strip to go here. And what I do is I save my boards that have knots that might have broke, and so there's a hole. Well, that one's not bad, but this one has a hole that goes right through for the bottom, because it works out perfectly, because you have to drill drain holes. So that would just be another drain hole. So that's why I saved the worst pieces for the bottom, because you got to drill holes in them anyways. So I'm gonna go and turn on my table saw and cut some strips of wood, and I'll be right back. So now that I have my bottoms glued and clamped, I am going to just make the rest of the boxes. And while I'm waiting for that glue to dry, it doesn't take long. And I'm quite happy that it's, got a little bit more width. But I'm just going to continue making the other boxes like I made this one. And then my bottom should be ready to go on, and the boxes are done. We can start working on the frame. So as you can see, I got the bottom on now. And I just secured it with some screws, and both boards are tightly secured in there. Now I just need to drill some drain holes and put it onto the frame. So as you can see, I got my back legs here and my front legs here. Notice they're on a 30-degree angle, going the same way. Like this one, and the bottom there is going the same way. And it's very important that you do it like that for those stand properly and that. I blew up my planer blade, hit a screw. These are old 2x4s, and I didn't realize there was a screw in one of them. And yeah, so it took a lot of sanding. As you can tell, my hand's pretty white. But now I'm going to start assembling them. Well, the plan was to start assembling them, but I think what I'm going to do is weather treat them right now. And so all the box gets weather treated, all the legs get weather treated, not just have chunks that aren't, because water will eventually get in and warp the wood and the stuff. So I'm going to weather treat the legs and the boxes and let them dry, and they should be dry by this evening or tomorrow morning for sure, and I'll assemble them and put a couple brackets in to hold them up, and it's gonna look all right. So this is what I use for weather treating is Thompson water cell, and this kind dries clear. Multi-surface. I have another kind over there that's Thompson's. Don't mind my messy garage, and that's wood protection too in that, so I'll probably use that one over there. But yeah, this stuff works great. You put it on, let it dry, and then you can do the water test where I just spray a little bit of water on it, and if it beads up, it's good. If it soaks in, you need to treat it some more. So, but this stuff is for decks and fences and that. I use it for all my outdoor stuff. And you can seal or treat a lot of pieces with one of those jugs. What else should I say? I need to make a few crossbars, but those aren't as important, and I'll get those done later. And I will see you when this stuff dries. So all I do when I'm treating the wood is I use this little paint container, pour a little bit in with a paintbrush, and I just brush it on, and this stuff looks like milk, but when it dries clear. I'll just do one here as a sample. Get those cut ends too, very important. So yeah, you just brush it on like this, and like I said, it looks like milk in the container and that, but when it dries totally clear. It brings out the wood grain in the wood, which I absolutely love. And there you go. See the difference between the two pieces of wood? And then I just turn it on its side. Little dab. You don't need a lot of this stuff. Just enough to penetrate the wood and look how beautiful that leg is. I love the dark colors in the wood. I like the little imperfections in wood, like the knots and that. It just makes it all real. So there you have it. One leg done, and as it dries, it'll pop out the colors more and the grain more, and it's gonna look good. So here we are now. The wood is dry from the treatment, and I'm just gonna show you the water test here. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. See how the water just beads up? So you know that it's good. On the leg, get my water here, give it a little squirt. See how it just beads up and runs off? That means that the treatment is good. So now, I'm going to start with assembling the first box on the back legs. have to put one on first, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up so it's even right across. I'm going to screw some, or drill some screw holes here and place some screws right in to hold this. And then I'll put the other leg on this side and the cross beam to make it more sturdy. So before we start assembling everything, I missed one important step, and that was to drill the drain holes. So you put a fairly decent sized drill bit on your drill, and you just screw holes in. For drainage. And you want to have a good drainage system because you don't want your roots to rot or anything like that. So I just drill holes all the way down, and they're a nice size hole, which will give good drainage. So there, I just drilled some random holes all on the bottom there, so it has a decent drainage system and your roots don't rot or anything, and cleaned it up a little bit. And yeah, so now it's good to assemble. So as you can see, I got the top box on and the back legs, a cross beam just to support the back legs on right now. Next is to put on the front legs. I'll get to that right now. So what I did was I took the leg with the 30-degree cuts on, and it's going to be hard to see in here, I straightened it with the top of that goes flush with the back leg, and I had to clamp it up so I could, well, have some free hands to show you what I did. And I'm going to put in some drill holes and screw that on to secure it. So that's what it should look like. Flush with everything, and then some screws to secure it. And hopefully I measured right and I don't have to take off that leg again to cut it. Next, I'm going to put a small piece of wood here, which will support the planter box and keep these two legs, give them more support that way. So I took just a small piece of wood here, and I clamped it up. I'm gonna put a couple screws in, and it doesn't need to be perfect, doesn't need to be cut on a angle or anything, because it's just there for support. So I'm gonna put in a couple drill holes and screw that in. So what I did was I took out that other piece because these boxes have to be 2.5 inches distance from each other, and that was just on the line, maybe a little bit bigger. So I put a smaller piece of wood, a narrow piece of wood, then I'll measure when I get the other leg on the 2.5 inches and add my other box. So as you can see, I got the planter box standing and the legs are properly cut and everything, which I'm very happy about. I don't have to take them off and retrim. I just had that leg clamped on right now. I'm going to drill holes in there, secure it, put a cross beam in there again, and go down adding the boxes. So here we go. We're going to drill some holes into it and add some screws. I'm gonna have to just cross over here for a second and get on this side. Put in my last hole. It should be about there. Perfect. Now just scoot back. I should have had all this stuff closer to me. And take my impact, right, and there. So now that's done, I can unclamp it and it should be secure. So I have another small piece of wood I clamped underneath the box. I'm going to drill a couple holes in there, secure it, and we'll move on to adding the next box. The hardest part, or I guess the most time-consuming part of doing this, is prepping the wood. Getting it cleaned up. Well, especially with this wood because it's old. Cleaned up. All sanded. Everything like that. That takes the longest. Now it's just the easy part, the fun part, putting it all together. So now, what you want to do is measure 2.5 inches from the bottom of this box. So it'll be from the top of this thing down, and that will be where the top of your next box starts. So let's do that up here quickly. My pen and right there, and this one will be put that in there, right there. I'll put a small line there. And a small line there. Then I'll take a box. Wipe it off a little bit. Squeeze it in there. And I think measuring the width of the box would be a lot easier, which is 6 1/4. So from this line, you would go down 6 1/4. Hold that like that. There. And measure approximately 6 1/4 there. And what I'm going to do is put in the support beams first, because it's be a lot easier than trying to hold this box and drill it in. And we got 6 1/4 there. So I put a small cross beam there. Could have been a little bit longer, but it'll do in a pinch. And I'm going to level it up. Right there. And I'm going to drill some holes in it and do the same on the other side and add the next box. So there is the second box put in. Got my little supporting brackets down there, leveled it all out, and now you just continue down another 2.5 inches for the top of the box and then the box. But I recommend highly that you put in the support brackets first, and you can just sit the box on top, screw it in. It's so much easier than trying to hold the box and screw it in and keep it level. So far it looks like this, and it's just gonna go down like a stairways all the way down to approximately a foot off the ground. So when I'm putting in the cross beams, I line the front up with my little notch that I made in my measurements, and then I clamp it. After I screw it all in and everything, I clamp it, and then I put the level on and bring the back side up to where it's a level, put in my screw hole, and then I just screw in the back. And it's level. So now I just need to sit the box on, screw the side of the box onto the legs, and move on to the last box. Then I slide in the box like so, and I check the level, and it's level. So now I just need to screw the screws in the side to hold it. And you want the box to kind of not overlap so much. You want kind of like you want to kind of line up the bottom of this box with the top of this box, so it has the stairs effect like that. So now I'm doing the bottom box here. Let me see. And I'm putting in one of the as you probably notice, I clamp everything. Holds it in place. It's my third hand. Makes me very happy. So I got the 2.5 inches from the bottom of this box down, and then the next box is 6 inches. So I measured it to here, and this will be the last support bracket, and plus the other side. And then all we have to do is all the support brackets, cross beams, everything, give them a quick little brush with the waterproofing, and this box will be called done. So there, I got that one screw in here, and then I put the level on it, and I'll put the clamp on that side just to hold it right where it's level, and that's perfectly level. So I'll clamp that side, screw it, and do the other side, add the box. And as you can see, I turned it around, clamped that one, leveled it again. It's that golden rule. Measure twice, cut once. It applies to the level too. And you screw it in place like that. Let go of the clamp. Everything's secure in there. And these pieces of wood I'm using, they're, I guess what you call scrap wood. And they come in handy a lot of the times, the scrap wood. So yeah, when I'm doing things like this, that's why they're different sizes, you know, like that one's thinner than that one, but you don't really see them. You see them in the back, but you know, this being a demonstration of making one of these, it's it doesn't really matter. If I was selling this one, I'd make sure everything is the same thickness, the same everything, but like I said, I'm not selling this one. Another thing is I would make my boxes bigger, like a little bit more wider. And when I go get my wood today, like these aren't a bad size, don't get me wrong. You know, they'd be great for strawberries, herbs, you know. Yeah, I have a herb garden, strawberry garden, stuff like that. They are a good size, but if I would go a little bit wider, like instead of 5 inches, I'd probably go about 6, maybe 7 inches wider. or not 7 inches wider, up to about 7 inches and that. But this would make a cute little garden box, like I said, a little herb garden box and that. So anyways, I'm gonna put on my last box now. So there you have it, 4-tier strawberry planter herb boxes. The only thing I would really change in this is making the boxes an inch or two wider. Not a lot wider, but you know, a little bit more wider. But not bad for my first try. I just want to thank Prince Albert Métis Women Association for giving me the opportunity to make this video. And I want to give a big shout out to Darlene McKay and Noreen McBride, two great women that run awesome programs and everything. And my next video will be on how to make flower boxes. Thank you.